Welcome to the Switch Style Podcast, where we encourage you to think beyond what you hear. I'm your host, and I go by the name of Smooth. And audience, welcome back to episode 64 of the podcast. Got a really great episode coming up for you guys. We're actually starting out on a more somber note on this episode, and it's mainly because of the passing of one half of the legendary rap group Mobb Deep. Prodigy, the legendary MC, he passed this Tuesday, June 20th, and we'll actually get into more of it in a second. But before I do anything, I want to let you guys know you can go ahead and follow me. Well, go ahead and follow the podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And also follow me on Twitter at Jack's Journal. That's JACS Journal. And also check out the new jacksjournal.com. That's jacsjournal.com, where you can find all of my written reviews and the podcast as well. But on this episode, guys, I'll give you my tribute to Prodigy. I'll update the Billboard charts for you. I'll let you know what's coming out this Friday, June 23rd. And last but not least, I'll give you my take on Lorde's sophomore album, which is titled Melodrama. So we'll do all of that. But before we jump into anything, let's go ahead and talk about Prodigy. And if you can hear the background music, that's actually Shook Ones that I'm playing. Shook Ones Part 2, to be more exact, off of their sophomore album, The Infamous, in 1995. But that's the reason you're hearing Mobb Deep. But again, back to Prodigy. Like I said, he was half of the legendary rap group Mobb Deep, and he passed Tuesday, June 20th, 2017 in Las Vegas, Nevada. But according to reports, he was hospitalized after Mobb Deep performed, and it was due to complications of sickle cell anemia. And it's a disease that he's battled his whole life. It's an unfortunate disease, and I hate that, he lost the battle with it. It's something he's dealt with all of his life. And this, honestly, it came out of nowhere. I didn't expect it. I'm sure no one, hip-hop, his family, I'm sure no one expected it. So they haven't performed a complete autopsy yet, so we should know later on in the coming weeks. We'll find out more about his death and if sickle cell anemia was the actual cause. So we'll find out more about that. But I do want to let you guys know that Prodigy, he was born Albert Johnson on November 2nd, 1974 in Queens, New York. And if you've never heard of Prodigy or Mobb Deep, I would suggest you check out The Infamous, their 1995 album, and the follow-up album after that, Hell on Earth, which came out in 1996. And Prodigy, he also released solo albums himself, including HNIC, which came out in 2000, Return of the Mac in 2007, and HNIC Part 2 in 2008. And their notable singles include Shook Ones Part 2, Quiet Storm. Lil' Kim was featured on the remix. That was a big one for him. And Survival of the Fittest. So if you're not familiar with Mobb Deep, I suggest that you go listen to some Mobb Deep. And out of the two, Havoc is the other member of Mobb Deep. But Prodigy was known as the more lyrically gifted MC of the two. So go out and check out Mobb Deep. Great listen. They represent New York rap at its highest levels, and not just New York rap, but rap in general. So rest in peace, Prodigy, and thank you for all of the great music. So audience, we'll go ahead and jump into what we normally do on the show, and which is update the charts. I'll let you guys know what's coming out again on June 23rd, 2017, and I'll give you my take on Lorde's album, Melodrama. On the Billboard 200, Katy Perry's latest album, Witness, takes the top spot, earning 180,000 units. 162,000 of those were traditional album sales. Witness is also Perry's third #1 album, following Prism in 2013 and Teenage Dream in 2010. At the moment, Witness holds the biggest sales week for any woman this year. Katy Perry also just happens to be the second woman to top the Billboard 200 in 2017, and early indicators suggest that the lady we're talking about later on, Lorde, she'll actually be the third woman to debut at #1 this year. So we'll talk about that later on. Halsey was actually the first woman to debut atop the Billboard 200 this year with Hopeless Fountain Kingdom, which was number 1 on the previous charting week's chart. And at number 3, I'm really excited about this one. R&B star SZA, she earned 60,000 units. 25,000 of those were traditional album sales of her full-length debut, Control. And I actually reviewed Control last week, and if you haven't heard it, please go check it out on episode 63. Control is the best album I've heard this year, and in my opinion, I'm already calling it. I think it's one of the greatest R&B debuts of all time. It's just my opinion. But Control is an amazing album. SZA is amazing. She looks amazing. Everything. SZA is just simply amazing. So go check out SZA. And country trio Lady Antebellum, they landed number 4 with Heartbreak, earning 53,000 units. 47,000 of those were traditional album sales. So let's jump to the Hot 100. Again, no surprise here for a 6th consecutive week. Luis Fonsi, Daddy Yankee, and Justin Bieber sit at number 1 with the Despacito. And Despacito, it also sits atop the Hot Latin Songs chart for a 20th week. Justin Bieber, just a little nugget, piece of history. Justin Bieber continues to make history every week. But Justin Bieber is now the first artist in Billboard history to hold the top 3 spots on the digital song sales chart. Those 3 songs are Despacito, DJ Khaled's I'm the One, and David Guetta's To You. Justin Bieber is a featured artist on all 3 of those songs. So congrats, Justin Bieber. He continues to be among the most popular artists in the world, and he's right now probably the most bankable. So congrats to Bieber, Daddy Yankee, Luis Fonsi, Lady Antebellum, SZA, and Katy Perry. They all made waves on the charts this week. And audience, if you missed it, just to recap, Katy Perry has the number 1 album in the country, and Luis Fonsi, Daddy Yankee, and Justin Bieber have the number 1 song in the country with Despacito. So congrats to all of them. So let's go ahead and jump to what's new. So this Friday, June 23rd, 2017, look out for new albums from superstar DJ and producer DJ Khaled, who's back with his 10th album, Grateful. I'm excited about this one. The album has already produced the hit single Shining with Beyonce and Jay-Z, I'm the One, featuring Justin Bieber, Chance the Rapper, Quavo, and Lil Wayne. To the Max, which features Drake, and Wild Thoughts is the latest single from the album, which features Rihanna and Bryson Tiller, which also samples Santana's Maria Maria, which features the product G&B and Wyclef Jean. So I'm excited about DJ Khaled's album. It's his 10th, like I said, and he said he put together an album full of singles, and the album is executive produced by Assad Khaled, who is DJ Khaled's son. And Assad, he's not even a year old yet, but hey, he's rich and he has an executive producer credit behind his name, so you can't be mad at that. And rock stars Imagine Dragons, they return with their 3rd album, Evolve. LA MC Vince Staples is back with his latest project, Big Fish Theory, and I'm excited about this one. Stokely of R&B band Mint Condition, he finally releases his first solo album, introducing Stokely. And if you don't know who Mint Condition is, go check out Pretty Brown Eyes, What Kind of Man Would I Be, among many other really great songs. They're one of my favorite R&B bands of all time. A lot of great musicianship. You'll definitely love Mint Condition if you love a lot of high quality music, and like I said, the musicianship that they bring, you'll love Stokely. And I missed a few albums the last couple of weeks, and I just wanted to let you guys know about them. I hadn't listened to them myself. I might actually review some of them in the coming weeks, but I did want to let you know that they came out. 2 Chainz, he released Pretty Girls Like Trap Music. Young Thug, or Young Thug fans, or Jeffrey, whatever he goes by these days, he released Beautiful Thugger Girls. Vic Mensa, he released the Manuscript EP. Vic Mensa, you know, the Chicago MC. And last but not least, Her, she released Her Volume 2. Her. Her releases Her Volume 2, so if you haven't checked her out, please go do that. If you're here, this is probably what you came for. So let's go ahead and jump into my take on Lorde's sophomore album, Melodrama. But before I do that, if you haven't heard any of my reviews before, I just like to give you guys a quick bio, just like to tell you a little bit about the artist, just to bring you up to speed. If you're not familiar with Lorde, this will be really good for you. You can learn a little bit about her in a short amount of time. It won't be an entire career spanning bio on Lorde, but it's just a few brief bullet points that'll actually give you a good idea of who Lorde is, where she comes from, and what we can expect from her in the future. So here we go. Ella Maria Lonnie Yellick O'Connor was born November 7th, 1996 in New Zealand. And I actually got two different cities. I'm not sure exactly which one. It's either Auckland or Takapuna. And I'm not sure if I said those right. So everybody in New Zealand, please forgive me. If I didn't say them right, shoot me an email and say, hey, this is how you say it. But that's Lorde's real name. As a young teen, Lorde formed a duo with a friend, Lewis McDonald, and the two won an intermediate school talent contest in 2009. The pair was later featured on the Jim Moore-hosted New Zealand Afternoons radio show. Their performance and a tape sent to Universal Records by McDonald's father led to a record deal with the label. She was later introduced to Joel Little, and the collaboration produced Lorde's 2013 Love Club EP. Lorde's international smash Royals was included on the EP and preceded her full-length debut, Pure Heroine, in September 2013, and Royals was also included on Pure Heroine. And to date, Lorde has also collected 2 Grammy Awards, and she is currently signed to a combination of Lava, Republic, and Universal Records. So Lorde is only 20 years old right now. She'll be 21 in November, so she doesn't have a long career history, but her ascent happened fairly quick. I'll go ahead and give you guys my take on her latest album, Melodrama. Nearly 4 years ago, New Zealand pop star Lorde disrupted pop's upper echelon with the inescapable international smash Royals. The multi-platinum hit powered her debut album, Pure Heroine, and even earned 2 Grammys along the way. Yet, the more impressive feat was that she actually reached a level of stardom that many artists never will at only age 16. She became an instant global star but soon retreated from the spotlight. Lorde returned in March 2017 with Green Light, the first single from her sophomore album Melodrama. This time around, Lorde recruited all-purpose pop wonder Jack Antonoff to augment her budding written ability. And if you don't know Jack Antonoff, please get to know him. He was the lead guitarist for Fun, and he also had another band titled The Bleachers, and he's written for Taylor Swift, Sarah Bareilles, Sia, Carly Rae Jepsen. I mean, this guy's resume is really impressive, so go check out Jack Antonoff if you hadn't heard of him. But back to Lorde. Pure Heroine producer, the guy that I mentioned earlier, Joel Little, he's still involved this time around, but in a more reduced role. If Melodrama's cover art was any indication, it suggested that the songstress would craft a more intimate body of work. The album cover features a stunning multi-blue shaded painting of Lorde from the shoulder up, lying in bed. Half of her face is illuminated by the sun peeking through the window, and the other is eclipsed by a pillow blocking the sun. She appears to be in a dampened mood with a crowded mind of thoughts. Melodrama plays at slightly under 41 minutes, but the Grammy winner reveals an ample amount of insight into her personal life with maturity well beyond her age. And like I said, she's 20 years old right now and will soon be 21 later this year in November. Greenlight's production builds like a volcano waiting to erupt, or better yet, a driver eagerly anticipating a liberating green light while sitting at a stifling red. Lorde vengefully plans to scream the truth about her former lover as she exposes him as a damn liar. Lorde thinks back on her former relationship and the flurry of fun, but soon realizes that it's time to dance with the truth on sober. She blows all of her friendships and admits to continually falling for a guy who's just not her type on the Louvre. Lorde even refers to the relationship as the greatest and hopes to be immortalized in Paris's The Louvre Museum someday. Liability is the most somber of Melodrama's 11 tracks and perfectly embodies Lorde's dejected appearance on the album cover. It's lyrical gold and holds possibly the album's most striking line. The truth is, I'm a toy that people enjoy till all of the tricks don't work anymore. The ambient hard feelings Loveless is the best of the bunch. She asked her ex to seriously think things through before giving up while remembering the rush when forever was us. Writer in the Dark is simply brilliant and is sure to be the envy of many of her pop contemporaries. Lorde shows that she's fiercely loyal as she vows to love until either she dies or the cops come knocking. The most telling take is that bet you rue the day you kissed a writer in the dark. She's putting all future boyfriends on notice. If you don't treat me right or decide to abandon ship, there's a good chance that you will be the subject of a song on a future Lorde album. Honestly, Writer in the Dark is not completely left field, but her approach was unique, which makes it stand out. The only drawback is that there is no known antagonist that we can all root against. A few of her pop peers, Taylor Swift and Katy Perry most notably, drew inspiration from their ex-celebrity beaux, which made their versions more compelling. However, Lorde is a self-described introvert and ignores the spotlight, so the chance of her exposing a two-time celebrity ex seems highly unlikely. Supercut is a timely shift in tempo while Lorde takes another trip down memory lane. As a whole, Melodrama is not as over the top as its title suggests, but is a vast improvement over Pure Heroine. Lorde's biggest development seems to be in her writing, but a bigger variable arguably plays a more crucial role. It's simply that she is older now. Looking back, it is easy to forget that she was only 16 years old with the life-changing hit, but she lacked the necessary life experience. Lorde is 20 years old now and soon to be 21, and that is still fairly young if you ask many people. The great thing is that she is still so young and could potentially have the high ceiling among her peers. As she ages, she'll continue to grow, experience life as it comes, and hopefully capture it as well as she's done on Melodrama. Only time will tell, but for now, let's just see where this thing goes. So there you go, audience. That's my take on Lorde's sophomore album, which is titled Melodrama. And right now, like I said in my take, I think it's better than Pure Heroine. I think Jack Antonoff stepping in was a great help, and he had a great influence on her writing. It's obviously better this time around, but she showed a lot of promise on her first album in terms of her written ability. And I think she's only going to continue to grow as time progresses, and she's still only 20 years old, so I expect her writing to get much better. It's still left to be seen how prolific she'll be, how many songs that she'll actually continue to write, because it seems like at her current pace, she might put out an album, maybe every 3 to 4 years. So we're not sure how much we'll get from her. I think people probably mostly compare her to Lana Del Rey. And it seems like Lana Del Rey has been a bit more prolific than she's produced songs in more of an abundance than Lorde has. And I also think Lana is probably a bit older than Lorde as well. But, I'm kind of interested to see. I think vocally, I think she's very unique. In terms of the production, they surrounded her with very sparse production, which makes a lot of sense. They didn't try to overpower what she does vocally with these huge elaborate productions, which I really liked. And she also produced a lot herself. You can tell that, she's still influenced by hip hop. She pulls from an assortment of influences, but it's definitely a solid album. I can't say it's one of my favorites, but I do love her writing. I think her writing is among the best I've heard or seen this year. The only thing about the album for me is probably the production. I wanted more production-wise, but I think with her having such a frail voice, I don't think you can build really complex production around her. So I'm kind of interested to see where she goes, how she'll develop over the years, and she's still young. So she has a lot of room to grow. I think her writing is only going to continue to get better. The more she experiences in life, her writing will only continue to get better. It just depends on how willing she is to share these things with her. But, if you love pop music, I think it is one of the better releases among pop music this year, though. I think there's a lot of substance within her writing. We'll never really get any specifics from her because I don't know if she'll date celebrities in the future. We really don't know, but I still feel like I didn't learn a lot about Lorde this time around. But with all that aside, I think it's still a solid release, and I think you guys should definitely hear it, if only for the writing alone. I didn't enjoy it completely, but there were parts of it that I really did enjoy. And there's no smash here like Royals. I think she came out of nowhere and completely caught everybody off guard with Royals. So we'll see what happens, but congrats, Lorde. Continue to do what it is that you do, and I'm excited to see what happens on the third album. But audience, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I hope that you enjoyed the experience. I hope you guys come back and listen on episode 65, and I hope you listen to all other 63 episodes of the Switched Out podcast. But again, you can find it on iTunes, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And also you can check me out at jacksjournal.com. That's JACSjournal.com, where you can find my written take and the podcast. You can also find all of my other album reviews, and follow me on Twitter at jacksjournal. But thanks again, audience. I sincerely appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.